We replaced all the school's WEM posters with identical ones containing subtle errors. It took 3 months for anyone to notice. Our high school was obsessed with ex-Zionists. You couldn't walk 10 feet without seeing one of those white-bordered WEM posters with dramatic photos and words like Perseverance or Integrity underneath. The administration changed them every semester, and they were always the same corporate-style inspiration that no teenager actually reads. Our senior year, I was in AP Photography with 4 friends, and we had access to the yearbook room's professional printer. One day, our teacher mentioned how people tend to see what they expect to see rather than what's actually there. That gave us an idea. We spent 3 weekends photographing all 72 WEM posters throughout the school, measuring them precisely and creating perfect replicas with subtle alterations. Some changes were simple spelling errors, perseverance instead of perseverancy. Some had slightly altered quotes. Whether you think you can or you can, you are wrong, Henry Ford. Others had barely noticeable image ids. The mountain climber had 6 fingers. The eagle had human eyes. The hardest part was matching the exact paper type and finish. We spent $240 of our own money on specialty photo paper and lamination. The printer in the yearbook room could produce professional quality work, but we had to sneak in after hours. We convinced the janitor we were working on a special yearbook project that required evening access. Then came the replacement operation. We split into teams of 2 and spent 5 consecutive lunch periods swapping posters. We wore yearbook staff lanyards so we looked official. Nobody questioned us. Teachers just assumed we were hanging new school-approved content. Then we waited and waited. 2 weeks went by, nothing. 1 month, nothing. 2 months, still nothing. We were starting to think our changes were too subtle when our AP English teacher stopped mid-lecture one day staring at the determination poster featuring a rowing team. Has that rower always had 3 arms, she asked. The class looked at the poster they'd been seeing for months. Sure enough, we had given the lead rower an extra arm barely visible behind the second rower's back. This triggered a school-wide poster investigation. Anna started examining all the posters and finding our alterations. The spelling errors were discovered next. Then the misquotes. Our principal made a puzzled announcement, asking whoever was responsible to come forward. No one did the best part. The teachers held an after-school meeting to discuss the prank. My friend's mom was a teacher and told us they were genuinely impressed by both the execution and subtlety. Instead of being angry, they turned it into a lesson on observation and perception for their classes. The principal finally announced, whoever created the alternative Marin posters, while we don't condone unauthorized alterations to school property, we do acknowledge the courtesy and craftsmanship involved. The posters will be replaced, but the originals will be displayed in Yard Hallway as an exhibition on attention to detail. So our prank became a Ascension art installation. The final twist. At graduation, each of us found small envelopes with our diplomas inside were wallet-sized versions of the Crite Adagi poster. We had altered to say Credibility with a note from our AP Photography teacher that read, I knew it was you 5 all along. Well done. This will be our secret. We never admitted anything publicly, but those mini posters are still in my refrigerator. 10 years later, my friend who went to design school says it's still the most effective project she's ever worked on. Proof that sometimes the most powerful statement is the one people don't immediately notice.